A parent sacrificing many parts of their life for their child. A soldier sacrificing his life for his country. Good people make sacrifices for others, right? Every relationship, romantic or others, requires a certain level of sacrifice. But what happens when sacrificing for others means you forgo all your needs or abandon your principles? What happens when your sacrifices become a one-way street or it starts to become stressful? There is an unhealed shadow child at work, and today I'm going to teach you how to heal from it. Namaste, Sacred Masters. I'm Dr. Iwas Ukehi, author of Shadow Work, Finding Your Light in Darkness, and I'm here to help you with your shadow work and manifesting questions, as well as give you tips on new ways you can practice your self-growth. So don't forget to subscribe for Grow Over Your Numbers on Tuesdays, Pick a Card Shadow Work on Thursdays, and Shadow Work Manifesting Tips on Sundays. Also, don't forget to check my website so that you can enter into my monthly giveaway of my Shadow Workbook to help you improve your life and find your light in the darkness. Today, we are going to talk about self-sacrifice. Now, putting others' needs above yourself is part of fostering a healthier and happier relationship. But oftentimes, many feel that their partner or the person they are sacrificing for, whether it be a boss or a child, does not reciprocate. We feel tired, burnout. We don't feel authentic or satisfied. And these small amounts of sacrifices and suppression add up. That leads to exhaustion and depression. Interestingly, we project this back to the people we love and our relationships get strained. Even though a healthy relationship is when two people provide strong social support to each other, the need for you to perform acts of self-sacrifice actually stems from an unhealed childhood wound. By identifying this wound, we are able to heal from it so that when we make sacrifices for the ones we love, we feel good about ourselves rather than feel force, which makes us feel inauthentic with the power of balance shifted away from you. But before we do that, we have to ask ourselves about this shadow side of us first. As I said in the beginning, performing acts of selflessness and sacrifice can be a good thing, like a mother helping a child with their homework even though she feels tired. But the shadow side of sacrifice is that we feel an innate need to help others, or even worse, we have problems saying no when someone asks for our help. Sit with yourself and begin to see what side of the spectrum you sit on. From 0, which is helping others out of unconditional love, to 10, which is helping others while stifling and repressing our own needs and desires. When we are unable to say no when someone asks for our help, it's called unmitigated communion, which is defined as focusing on others while excluding an individual self. Many who exhibit this trait suffer from anxiety, poor self-esteem, and poorer health. The closer you are on the spectrum to unmitigated communion, the bigger your shadow self is revealed to you because of an unhealed childhood trauma which is still stuck in your shadow child. The unhealed shadow child that arises when you develop an underlying feeling that the only way to earn love is by putting others ahead of you is the part of your shadow child that did not receive proper nurturing, guidance, and structure from your primary caregivers. When we don't receive enough love, we create an identity to complement our primary caregivers. We stop asking for help, practice boundaries, and assert our needs, and instead give more to others than we give to ourselves. How is that bad, you ask? Because in doing so, you create a sense of identity through taking care of others, slowly losing your own. When we give that power to others, we begin to stop seeing our own sense of value. If you ever feel guilty when you even consider taking care of your own needs first, then there is a shadow child within you that needs to be taken care of. Self-care is not selfish, as I covered in one of my videos, which you can see in the link above or description box below. You only think it's selfish because your shadow child is hurting within you. It is trying to call out to you to take care of it. And if you neglect it and focus your efforts on others instead of yourself, it's a dangerous downward spiral for you physically, mentally, and spiritually. Now, before we go into how we can heal from that, I want to first make sure that you need to assess your relationship when you are putting in too much sacrifice. This video is not recommended for you if you have a controlling or abusive partner, whether emotionally or even worse physically. This will be a different situation, and if you find yourself in it, you have to get out. Toxic relationships is completely different, in which they demand your sacrifice, and you may have no unhealed wounds, but rather you are a victim. There are many resources to help you with toxic relationships. This video is not it. Your purpose here is not to free yourself from the shackles of self-sacrifice, because in toxic relationships, the cycle just repeats itself. With that said, if you have a normal relationship but find yourself struggling, we need to look beyond your current situation to find a solution. That solution, the only way to heal, is through love. Love not just for yourself, but for your unhealed shadow child. What is the shadow child? For those of you who are new here, the shadow child is the part within us that all our shadow traits live in. Since we were born, we have suppressed and repressed all fears, traumas, neglect, or significant loss into our shadow child. It has lived there within your subconscious and is the basis of all blockages and hardships in life because it remains unhealed. Thus, we act out our undesirable traits through our shadow child. Through shadow work, our goal is to heal this shadow child and bring it back to love and compassion rather than fear and darkness. When it comes to excess self-sacrifice, the part of us that feels a need to put others before us is due to the fact that we need to feel needed by people. If we do not receive proper love from our primary caregivers, we begin to build this shadow side of us that feels like self-love is conditional upon earning this sense of self-worth through taking care of others and wanting it back in return. Essentially, we are not practicing love, we are bartering love. So, we need to first bring love back into the picture. Start by identifying what your shadow child within feels uncared for. Was it an absent mother? A father who never addressed your needs? Perhaps your feelings were not validated by your older siblings. Maybe you even had to take care of one of your parents. In fact, you may have picked up this trait from one of your parents, where they have shown you that they were too busy taking care of others, they forgot their own needs. See, surprisingly, even when parents fit into the self-sacrifice schema, we pick up those traits from them too. Traits that are learned and not yours. Once you identify where you picked up these traits, sit down with yourself and your shadow child and begin to make statements to yourself that you most needed to hear most from this unhealed past. I have a special macabre meditation for that. You can find it in the link above or description box below. This is where you not only begin to love your shadow child, but begin to reparent them as well. Remember that what you feel is natural and normal, but it is nobody's responsibility other than yourself to heal from it. The more you heal with your shadow child, you begin to feel happier and healthier, because you are loved for who you are, not what you do. Self-sacrifice turns from a barter system into true, unconditional love. People will still love you even if you don't mend their clothes, lend them your car, cook their meals, etc. If someone demands that you do it, else they hold back love from you, that's emotional abuse. These are people to stay clear away from. They create cycles that prey upon your weakness and are predatory until they have exhausted you and eventually leave you for other things they believe to have more value. Remember, stop looking on the outside to heal. Nobody can heal you. The answers are already within you. Be mindful when your tank begins to feel empty and find ways in which to recharge. If you have to take care of a child, remember you cannot connect with them if your tank is empty. Your behavior and actions will cause them to pick up on the self-sacrifice schema, and they will repeat your patterns when they grow up. It's time to break the chain. Remember that the original meaning of the word sacrifice is to make sacred. How are you going to bring up children if you have no time to make yourself sacred? This is a time where you can do self-exploration and self-discovery. Connect with yourself and your shadow child. It doesn't have to be meditation. Sometimes sitting down with a nice cup of tea or coffee, writing on a journal, or just daydreaming are great ways to recharge. You'll find that you deal better with situations when your feelings get hurt. You yell less, eat better, and feel better. In my 7-day free course I mentioned earlier, you'll also find ways in which to nurture the shadow child. These are all healing work to help you experience a better life. Because you deeply connect with yourself, your essence, and your truth. When you connect to your heart, you become a sacred master. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that I have a video on self-care. This video has actual steps and tips you can do to take better care of yourself on an emotional, physical, and spiritual sense. You want to use these techniques so that you can reclaim back yourself, turning you into a machine where you can give unconditional love and healthy sacrifices to others. Remember, if your emotional and love tank is empty, you're not giving out unconditional love through your self-sacrifice. You are bartering. So, use these techniques. I'll see you there. Namaste.